Hi again, and thank you to those that have just joined us this evening for our live panel discussion, Why Study at the Manchester College. I'm Amy and this is my colleague Poppy, and we will be your hosts for this evening. We're going to be hearing from our principal, Lisa O'Loughlin, and our vice principal and dean, Michael Walsh, as they discuss what makes us the #1 college in Greater Manchester and all the really exciting things that we've got coming up. So hi Lisa, hi Michael, thank you for joining us this evening.
Hi Amy, hi Michael.
Hi everyone.
So we've got a few questions that we'd like to ask you. So if you're happy, we'll go in for the first question, if that's okay. So really important question. Why do you think students should study at the Manchester College over other colleges?
Ooh, tricky one. I think there are a number of key reasons, and I think both Michael and I will have different points of view on this, but from my perspective, I think there are a number of key benefits for students in coming to Manchester College. The first one is about achievement of qualifications, because that is important to students and that is what they, come to us to do. We're the #1 college in Greater Manchester for student achievement, and what that means for students, Amy, is that more of our students achieve their qualifications than any other general further education college in Greater Manchester, and that's confirmed in the national league tables. So chances of success are fantastic at the Manchester College. The chance that you will achieve your qualification is incredibly high. I think the other thing is we have spent a lot of time, Michael, myself and our senior team of the last few years, just changing the way that we deliver education at the Manchester College with a clear line of sight to improving our students' chances of getting a job at the end of it. So many of our tutors are industry specialists, as I know you know, Amy, and we also work closely with industry partners. We've developed a kind of vision for the college, which is to include employers as co-creation partners for our curriculum, which means that employers help us to choose the curriculum, they help us to deliver the curriculum, and they brand the curriculum and provide work placements and industry placements, which are slightly longer placements in the world of work for our students. And what that really means is that students are better placed when they leave us really successful in the world of work. So for me, compelling reasons, there couldn't be any better. A greater chance of getting your qualification and a greater chance of being successful in the labour market. What's not to like about that, I suppose? What would you add to that, Mike?
I think, I mean, first of all, I would entirely agree with everything that you've said there, Lisa. I think probably the main thing I'd add is it's really interesting working with adult learners, because adults return to college for a whole range of different reasons. A lot of young learners, they're out of school. It's the obvious thing is to go into college, but for our adult learners, we have a whole range here at the college. We have thousands of adult learners every year, and they may have not got any formal qualifications at school, and this is their first opportunity to do that, and achieve English or maths, or they may be retraining, they may be changing career. It may be that they've had families, and now that the kids have left home, maybe they're focusing on just learning for learning's sake and just the enjoyment of coming back into education. But whatever those reasons are, and whatever the individual goals, I guess, and the individual targets that adults might have, I think we've got a course here that can meet those requirements. Where, as you know, we're a massive college. You'd go a long way to find a subject that we don't offer to adults. So I think whatever reason people are returning for, we can meet those needs. And I think just adding to that, particularly this year, we all know the circumstances that we face. We all know how tough it's been for people this year. And I think one of the things that we are really good at is supporting our adult learners, and more so this year than ever before. And the feedback we've had from adult learners has been fantastic. It's been really hard. Nobody on the call needs me to tell them how hard it's been to juggle home commitments, helping the kids learn from school, learn at home rather because they're not being in school, and really balancing those different commitments. And the support we put in place for adults, it's just as important and it's just as strong as that we put in for 16 to 18-year-olds. So I think individual goals, individual targets, and the support to help you achieve those are really strong reasons to study with us as well.
I think you're absolutely right, Michael. I think I'd just add one last thing, Amy, to that. think it's really important that people appreciate that as for adults, we are the biggest provider of adult education in Greater Manchester. What that means for you as a learner if you come to our college is that not exclusively, but the majority of our courses for adults are discrete to adults. And that means you've got kind of dedicated support as an adult. The majority of opportunities for adults, you're not blending in with 16 to 18-year-olds. They may be around on campus, but it enables us to tailor the courses, the classes and the support to you as adults as a little bit different, understanding that your needs may be a little bit different to those 16 to 18-year-olds that come to us. So you sometimes see in colleges, you know, you're having to infill into classes with 16 to 18-year-olds, and that can be uncomfortable at times, but here we're able to offer something a little bit more bespoke and discreet for our adults, and also provide that specific individual support as well.
Thank you both. I mean, it's just a good to sort of add, and I will mention at the end, you know, we do have, you know, sort of other panel events sort of taking place, you know, which does talk about the funding and also talk about, you know, why people have returned back to education. So, you know, what you were saying, Michael, as well, you know, why people come, why do people want to study and why they come back into education as an adult. So thank you for that. And so we've got another question here. Obviously we've got a brand new campus which is opening next year, in summer next year, and also the redevelopment of our Openshaw campus as well. And can you just tell us a little bit about the new facilities and the new campus, what that will offer for adults?
I'll probably start that one because it's very close to my heart, as you know, working on this for a long time. So we, as I said, we've been working on redefining our offer in the college, largely around routes to employment, because we know that most of our students, particularly adults, will either want a change of career or they'll want to improve their prospects within their existing career, whether that's a, you know, promotion or a different set of skills perhaps that they need for their role now because things are changing. And we appreciate and understand that. So we've been redefining our curriculum over a period of time, defining our departments and our offer. But part of that has been a significant investment in our campus as well. And what we've been doing is investing to create centres of excellence and industry excellence academies, are two different offers, if you will, within our new facilities. So we've invested 140 million, as I know you know this, Amy, over a period of time. And that will mean that our students will have state-of-the-art facilities, whatever centre of excellence or industry excellence academy they go into. So whichever sector, whether it's hospitality and catering, whether it's construction or health and wellbeing here at Openshaw, or our new facilities that come online in September 2022. In that lovely new city centre facility. So we're redeveloping this campus here at Openshaw, and we'll have things like a lovely mock hospital ward, so you can learn in state-of-the-art facilities that get you ready for the world of work. We're also expanding our sports facilities to include indoor and outdoor multi-sport opportunities, and a state-of-the-art construction centre with a new automotive workshop, and a whole host of other things like a mock nursery for childhood studies. And that means that there are facilities that supplement and complement that industry placement that our students will experience as well outside of the college. And we can kind of get to practice skills and knowledge development on campus and then mirror that out in the world of work. In addition to that, in 2022, that brand new city centre campus opens, and that will be our hub for digital and creative industries. So included in that will be 2 theatres, state-of-the-art theatres, TV and film studios, dance and drama studios, music facilities, and also our visual arts studios, including ceramics, jewellery making and photography. Lots of specialist facilities allied to the creative industries. But Michael, I want to say a little bit more about the other features beyond the curriculum that those new state-of-the-art facilities offer, like the accessibility to our city centre and the opportunities that creates for students beyond the campus itself. I know you know a lot about that, Michael, so I'm
Yeah, well, no, I think there's two bits around that really. So, and it takes me back partly to your your previous answer when you were talking about the discrete adult provision. So, you're quite right to highlight that. We already have adult campuses. So, our St John's campus, for example, which is right in the centre of town, it's only adult provision there. And as you say, that's something that we're going to continue in the new sites as well. So, there will be that slight separation really between the 16 to 18 students, not entirely, but it's really nice that our adult learners, not only in higher education, but our adult learners who are coming back in to study a range of qualifications will have that sort of separation there as well. And that's partly in the city centre campus, but as you say, our existing campuses are being redeveloped as well. The facility is going to be fantastic. The location's brilliant. You know, the new campus is right next to Victoria Station, as you know, and it's giving people that access to the city centre there. I think some of the staff are just as excited about that as the students are as well, actually. But I think the other really important thing that the new centres give us is the opportunities to really create that kind of one-stop shop when it comes to student support. I mentioned earlier, you know, that we offer that support to adults who are coming back for a range of reasons. But one of the things that I'm really pleased about and excited about is whatever your needs are, whether you need a bit of advice about student finance, and it is very complicated for adults, so I would recommend that you join in that talk that Amy mentioned earlier, whether you need a bit of help in terms of just accessing our libraries or just general careers guidance. You know, now on these new campuses, there will be that one location where you can go as an adult with your particular needs, which are different to 16 to 18-year-olds, let's be honest about it. And you can go, you can really get that advice and guidance, you can really get that support. You're talking to people who know the ropes, they know the challenges that you might be facing, and they know how to support you in terms of doing that. So yeah, the locations are fantastic, the facilities are fantastic, but I think there's that wider piece as well about learning and studying in a city as vibrant as Manchester. It's just so exciting. I'm, you know, as I say, personally really looking forward to moving into it as well. So yeah, really exciting times for us all.
Yeah, the new facilities are just second to none, aren't they? They're just going to be absolutely amazing.
And close to Harvey Nichols and Selfridges, we can't wait.
Absolutely. So I've just got another question for you. What makes the Manchester College a good choice for adult learners? I know you sort of talked a lot there, you know, about the provision. Don't know if you can go into a little bit more detail.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's everything that we said already, to be quite honest with you. But I think there are sort of other things that underpin that. I mean, I'm not normally one for sort of recommending that people, you know, dig out Ofsted reports and that sort of thing. But I think actually our last Ofsted report, which rated us as a good college and actually read as a really strong report, highlighted a number of the things that do make us a really attractive proposition for adults. Some of it Lisa's touched on already. Yeah. It's about working with employers in the city. It's also actually about working with the city council and looking at how can we help to provide the skills that Manchester needs and that Greater Manchester needs, and planning our provision accordingly. We've got some fantastic links with a whole range of organisations right across the city who really want to work with us and work with our adult learners. So I think we've got that sort of it's hardwired into our DNA, if you will, and again that discrete adult provision is a really strong sort of aspect as that as well. So yeah, those industry links, the range of different courses that we offer. You'll sometimes hear people talk about Greater Manchester, and they'll talk about what they call the skills hourglass, which is basically, you know, some people, I touched on it earlier, some people need those skills. They might have not got formal qualifications at school, or they might have got them years ago, and they just want to, just that sort of head start really, and that little extra lift to get back into education. And then at the other end of the spectrum, we've got people who might have already achieved, you know, A-levels or degrees, but that might be some time ago, and we can really meet the full range of skills there that people need, and really cater to those individual sort of as I say, those individual objectives and those individual targets that people might have. Don't know if Lisa wants to try anything around there. I could go on all day about why we're a good place.
I think you're right, Michael. I think the clarity of routes for adults is very much hardwired into our curriculum. So I think there are three main routes that we offer for adults. The first is, if you need that barrier removing curriculum or courses that Michael's just described, whether it's ESOL courses, just to get over that hurdle of the language that you need to study to get into the world of work, whether, you know, if you've been out of work for a while and you need that kind of bridge to get back into the world of work, or really just to get back into study, then we have that foundation learning curriculum that will enable you to get where you want to go. In addition to that, we've got that very, very technical kind of employer focused or sector focused, employment focused curriculum, whether it's in, you know, motor vehicle or logistics. If you want to be a taxi driver, we've got that curriculum for you. If you want to go into the high level hospitality industry, we've got that curriculum for you. If you want to do business admin, we've got a route through that. If you want to go into health and social care. So we've got that very technical curriculum there for you as well. And that's kind of a second route, whichever area you want to study in. And then finally, we've got a very academic route, because we're very aware that some adults want to re-engage and go on to university, and they want to go through that route that perhaps they didn't have the opportunity to engage in earlier on in their lives. Perhaps they were bringing up children, or there were other priorities at the time. And our access provision is really high quality and prepares you well, I think, for university, because it is also line of sight to employment. So our access provision really leads you into professions like those associated with medicine. So whether it's access to medicine, nursing, midwifery, and pharmacy, and would you believe medical engineering, so you can learn how to develop prosthetic limbs. So there are all sorts of things there. We also have other access provision in engineering and law and those kinds of things as well. So it's a bridge, if you will, a stepping stone into university, which is great, but it's already starting to kind of help you tailor which route you're going to go through in university and prepare you really for that next level of study. So yeah, whether it's barrier removing, whether it's, you know, that very technical curriculum, or whether it's that academic route into university, we've got something for everybody in adult. And as Michael's already probably emphasised enough, it is discreet, so it enables you to study with other adults in a kind of environment best suited to you and with tailored support for your needs as an adult learner.
Just to add something to that, and partly to answer the question, I know Kyle's asked in the chat about progression to university. Yeah, no, it's thanks. I really appreciate it, Kyle. It's given me the perfect opportunity to come in and said something that I should have mentioned earlier. But Lisa's mentioned our access to HE provision, and every year we have over 700 adults who engage in access to HE provision. It's the largest access to HE, certainly in the Northwest, and actually possibly in the country. Now, these courses are specifically designed for students to progress onto university, but 98% of our access to HE students did progress onto degree level study last year. So that tells you it's virtually every student who completes an access course successfully with us. There are other courses that aren't geared towards going on to HE. Obviously, there are other courses that are geared towards taking you further in your career. But in terms of those courses that are aimed at that, I think that gives you a flavour really as to the sort of progression rates that we have there and the numbers of students that we have coming through who successfully go on to university.
And I think it's fair to say, Michael, isn't it, that the universities they progress on to are really high quality universities. We have a lot of students progressing on to Manchester University, to MMU and into quite challenging subjects, you know, around medicine, as we've said, nursing, midwifery. So they're progressing on to really kind of prestigious courses and prestigious universities as well, which is fantastic.
We do, and I probably need to be careful what I say because we haven't announced the winner yet, but one of our nominations for Adult Student of the Year this year is an access student who's secured a place for Oxford. I can't say whether they've won or not, but that just gives you an idea of as you say, the sorts of courses they can go on to. And I think, again, one of the strengths a college such as ours is that it doesn't matter where you start at all. You can come in, you know, you can start with your GCSE English and Maths, or you can come in at, you know, what we call a level 1 course and progress right the way through. And, you know, it might take you a few years to get there, but you can do that with us. You can stay with one provider and go right the way through to achieve whatever you're.
I think that's really important, Michael. And as Michael said, I think we've got 2 Oxbridge entrants this year, actually, a young adult and a slightly older adult, which is fab. So it gives you a sense of the ambition that we've got for our students and that we support them to have as well. But yeah, I think whatever your starting point, we've got a route for you. And that's really, really important, because I think even in those 2 cases, those students perhaps didn't start with the kind of normal academic profile, if you will, but have actually over time overcome some of the challenges that they face, whether it was other commitments or other things, and have actually achieved their goals. And that's very, very typical. We have a lot of adults that will come to us and perhaps they've had a bit of time out and just a bit, you know, need a bit of re-engagement with the world of study, and need to learn that route again. And others come in already very ambitious, know exactly what they want and have a clear line of sight to what they want, and get there even more quickly. So whichever stage you're at, we can kind of fit the course to develop at a pace that is suited to your needs and your starting points.
You can tell I'm keeping my eye on the chat. Can I come in and answer Anastasia's question
there
as well about whether you can access other facilities? Yes, the short answer is you absolutely can, Anastasia. So this is a question about studying. Just, I don't know if everyone can see the chat, but if you're studying at one site, in this case our Northern campus, can you access facilities at others? And again, I'm really pleased you've asked the question, because sometimes we take these things for granted, but yeah, absolutely you can. Whatever site you're studying, you know, if you happen to be at our Northern campus, but actually you live near Openshaw, where I'm based today, or you live near our Fielding campus, but you're studying at Harper Hay, you can go in, you can use the facilities, you can access the library, you can access the IT equipment, you can get support from staff there. So yeah, it's not a case of saying, well, no, you know, you're studying at Northern and so that's the only campus. You can put on more different campuses and using the facilities that are there. So yeah, that's a definite yes.
Absolutely. And I know that a lot of students have asked us, because we've got these wonderful sports facilities opening in September at Openshaw. You know, is it possible to be part of college sports teams? Can we come down and use those facilities? Are there out of hours enrichment activities in the new performing arts facilities at the city centre site when they open in 2022? And the answer to all of that is yes, absolutely. All of our students can access all of our facilities. And even if it's just kind of when that new facility opens in the city centre, there's going to be quite a high profile restaurant in there with celebrity chefs coming in. So even if it's just about bringing your mum and dad in for a meal and wanting to take them out and treat them in one of our restaurants, that's also open to our students from whichever campus you're from as well.
Brilliant, thank you. There's somebody that else has asked, actually, when we talk about sort of the access to HE courses, how long do the access to HE courses normally take? Faith has asked that question.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll also answer, I think Kyle's asked another question related to access as well, isn't it? So I'll pick that up while I'm answering it. So yeah, they're a year basically. So our access to HE, normally you would start in September and finish around about now actually. And in fact, our access to HE students are in the throes of their final assessment. So I'm sure they will have been studying hard over the last few weeks. So it's a 1-year course. It's an access to HE diploma, which is the equivalent of a level 3 course. So it's the equivalent of A levels really. And once you've completed that, you can then go on to university, and they're specifically designed for students who, as I say, you know, want to, their aspiration is to go on and maybe do a degree, but they've either not been in education for some time or didn't quite manage to get to that level previously, and they can come and do that as well. Another important point just about access to HE courses, because some of them it depends on the funding, which, as I say, is very very complicated, but some adults might need to take out what's called an advanced learner loan, which is a loan that you can take out to pay for the course. If you do then go on and are successful at a degree level program, then that loan gets written off. You don't have to pay it back. So you can actually save money by doing that and achieving that. And the other question was from Kyle, which was around actually, are they online? Our access to courses have been mainly online this year, obviously because of the situation that we've been in, like schools, colleges and universities have been in lockdown for large parts of the year. And we took a decision quite early on in the year, really, particularly around access, because we knew that adult learners particularly, I mean, we've all been facing challenges this year, haven't we? Because we knew that adult learners particularly might face those challenges in terms of balancing, you know, either working and study or home life and study. We took the decision to offer a largely online offer this year. From next year, so from September 2021, we're expecting to be back face to face and actually back, you know, back in the classroom again. However, there are actually some advantages of learning online. It means that students can access lectures at a time that suits them if the lecture is recorded, for example. So we're just working through at the moment, might we still offer some online options, or might we offer actually a distance learning or a blended learning model? So we're looking at doing that, but I would expect for most of our access provision, you will be back face to face, because I think that's just, you know, a lot of people really want to sort of embrace that kind of learning. But there are some benefits to the distance learning as well.
I'm going to attempt to answer Amal's question. I'm now monitoring the chat as well. I finally found where the button is. Technology is not my strong suit. And Amal wants to study at a Russell accredited university to do economics, and he's asking, will access to HE be the correct route for him? Because very aware that there is that issue around, will all universities accept you through that route? And that is a challenge. That sometimes is a challenge with some universities. I think what the advice I would give you, Amar, is yes, it is possible, but the best thing to do is, it depends. If you've got your sights set on a specific university and a specific course, and they are very, very competitive, then the best option is to come in and talk to some of our staff. Because one thing I do know about our colleagues who teach in access is they know every university. They know what the chances are of you getting into that particular course, and they'll know exactly what you need to do. The answer is generally yes. So even in the most challenging and competitive universities, they generally do accept access courses, but they'll accept them with various levels of qualification. And what our staff will need to do is just advise you very, very clearly. On occasion, there are one or two universities that go, you know what, we won't take you from an access course. That does happen. So the best thing you can do is come on in, and we'll talk to you about exactly what you need to do. It might be that you need a supplementary qualification. Some universities say you have to have a certain level of GCSE or a certain profile of GCSEs as well as the access course. But the most important thing is our colleagues absolutely know every university and will know what the entry requirements are, and they'll be able to advise you specifically on what the best route is, whether it's a 1-year route or a 2-year route for you.
We also have an access to HE live panel discussion just like this on Thursday at 6 o'clock. So we'll pop that link in there. So anybody who needs any further information, we've also got Q&A sessions also with the access to HE team as well. So they'll be able to just sort of advance on everything that sort of Michael and Lisa have just mentioned to you guys there. But thank you for all your questions so far. It's brilliant.
I'm gonna answer Anastasia. I'm just freeforming here now.
You're loving it now, Lisa.
You can do that when you're the principal.
Yeah, I'm taking complete control as usual. Anastasia's asking about the UAL Foundation and the progression onto Manchester universities, and by that she's either, I think, referring to USM Manchester, which is our HE provision, and of course there are direct progression routes onto that, and really high quality HE that will be available the following year after you've done your access year in our city centre site, with those lovely new facilities. And if you're talking about MMU, which is another Manchester University that has a really good quality art and design provision, then yes, a lot of our students do progress on there. So obviously they've got some fantastic facilities and studios there, but we will have, I don't want to get into competitive statements, but we will have studios to rival that in our new city centre site by the time you finish your UAL access programme as well. And I'm from an art and design background myself, so I went that route and actually studied for my master's degree at MMU. And I would say that the new facilities that we're opening in that new city centre site are second to none. They're absolutely fabulous. Those studios will be astounding with the access to very, very specific kind of discipline studios, whether that's pottery, whether it's jewellery, whether it's 3D, whether it's painting, and opportunities for developing large-scale sculptures and all sorts of specialist equipment there in those new facilities. So whichever route you wanted to go, yeah, there are options for you at the end of the foundation programme. And just to answer your last part of your question, which is about access to studio space, yeah, it's been tricky definitely this year because obviously we've been in various levels of lockdown at different times. But what we've done is prioritise. We knew that we would be open from September, but there was a possibility of a second lockdown this academic year. So one of the things that we've been doing as a management team with our curriculum colleagues is every 6 weeks reviewing the sequencing and planning and the access to facilities for our students. And we went into this academic year knowing that we had to put the emphasis up front on access to studios and practical equipment in case there was a lockdown a little bit further on, and then we could kind of backload that theoretical element. And that's what we did. That's what we did with our students. So they had access to facilities really kind of front-ended up front, so they got a lot of access. Then we went into that lockdown from Christmas to March and we prioritised the kind of theoretical elements. And then as soon as we could, we got our students back onto campus to access those facilities, and we're running summer schools so that they've got further access to facilities through the summer if they need that in order to be able to really top up those practical skills before they progress on to the next stage, whether it's into a job or next stage in education. So we're reviewing that constantly, and we've had to be very agile this year and also listen to what our students want. So some of them have had access to specific facilities that they particularly need. Others have not needed or have needed a different set of facilities, and we've kind of planned it in that way. Hope that answers your question, Anastasia.
Thank you, Lisa. That's great. We've just got another question here about, can you tell us a little bit about your Centre of Excellence for Adult Education and what that does entail?
Do you want to kick off for this one, Lisa, or should I pick it up?
I'll let you.
Okay. So yeah. So you'll quite often hear the phrase sort of centre of excellence for education. It's one of those things that some colleges claim, you know, it's a bit of a badge. But I think when we use it in the Manchester College, we don't call everything a centre of excellence, and we certainly don't call everything a centre of vocational excellence or a centre of adult excellence. We've waited until we feel we were justified in using that term, which is why it's something that's quite new to us. So quite simply, we feel that we've reached a stage now in terms of our outcome, all the things we've talked about, our outcomes, our Ofsted report, you know, that grade 2, those fantastic outcomes, which for adults are the best across GM, compare really well to national figures, the links that we've got with employers, their input into our programs, the fantastic new resources that we're building. So we kind of, in a way, sort of sat back and looked at ourselves and said, do we really feel we can make this claim? Do we really feel that we're in a position now to say that this is a centre of excellence for adult education? And our view is that we can make that claim now. So we're going to. But what it means is that as an adult, if you're coming to us, you can be really confident that whichever one of those different aspects I've just talked about there, and the supports part of that as well, and the progression and the advice and the guidance and all the things that we've been talking about, you can be really confident that you're going to get that level right across the board. It's not a case of, well, actually, these courses are really good, but actually we've got a couple of courses here that aren't doing as well. Clearly outcomes from different courses are always going to be slightly different, but we're really comfortable and really confident that we've reached that level of excellence right across our adult provision, and that by coming and studying with us and accessing those facilities and getting those courses that have been developed with genuine employer input and going out there and working in an industry and getting that work experience, you can be really confident that you're going to get, that word excellence isn't in there by accident. You can be confident you're going to get a really excellent educational experience with us. So that's how I would describe it. Absolutely.
I couldn't have put it any better than that. So I'm not going to add to it, except to give a couple of examples. So in the chat, we've got Anastasia's just saying she's incredibly excited. She's got her interview on Wednesday. Well, good luck with that, Anastasia, first off. And in art and design, I think there's some really good examples around what that centre of excellence offer is that's kind of enhanced from normal provision. So, for example, we've got relationships with Manchester City Art Gallery, so our students have got the opportunity to exhibit in Manchester City Art Gallery. Not everybody gets that opportunity, and what it means is that you're getting a sense of what it's like to be a professional artist, and that isn't often available to students. So that's one example, and we've got some really exciting developments in the world of art and design. In our USEM Manchester provision, if you choose to progress on with us, we've got a fantastic programme that's co-developed with the Open Eye Gallery for photography. So they allow our students placement in the Open Eye Gallery, opportunities to exhibit, and also help us develop the curriculum so that we know that it is absolutely fit for purpose for progression on to become an artist. And I'm going to struggle to pronounce your name, but I think it's Mejan, I could be wrong, is asking about the counselling course, and that's another great example. So within our counselling provision, they have specialist accreditation, so professional accreditation, which means that is a benefit for you added on, as well as learning how to become a professional counsellor. You also get the professional industry accreditation on top of that, and also opportunities to develop and enhance your skills by working in a professional context. So what we're not just doing is kind of selling you a course. You come to your classroom, you learn from our teachers, which is a great part of what we offer, but in enhancing that, we're also offering you those opportunities in the world of work, even in some of the hard to reach kind of sectors. Like art and design is not easy to get work experience in, but we have developed those relationships with those city galleries and with professional artists who come in. We're even nurturing a relationship with Patrick Grant, he of Sewing Bee fame, trying to nurture some opportunities there as well. And we're continually doing that. The one thing that drives me and Michael and the senior team and all of our curriculum managers is constantly trying to make those links that give our students just that edge and that greater opportunity beyond the skills and knowledge that they'll develop as part of the course. And that's what we mean by Centre of Excellence.
Just to add to the point about counselling as well, it's probably worth just noting that we have just developed a counselling degree that's validated by Sheffield Hallam University, one of our partner universities. So that'll be coming on from September 2021. So again, if you are coming to study that level 3 counselling and you're quite right, you can go on to the level 5, but also, as I say, for the first time next year, we've actually introduced a foundation degree and then a top up, so you'd get a full 3-year degree from that as well. And Amar, absolutely, you're quite right. The sky is the limit, and that's what we're here to try and help you reach. Absolutely.
And just to answer Anastasia's question about specific support for difficulties that students may have already or have experienced whilst they're with us, and in particular mental health issues that students are experiencing. Actually, everybody's experiencing, whether that be generally or as a result of lockdown. We're seeing more and more of our students experience some of those challenges. And what we've done this year, we've already got a provision that is there specifically to support those needs. But this year we've invested just that little bit further because we are seeing more and more students needing that support. And we're investing in specialist mental health practitioners within the curriculum teams and our support teams who are able to provide that very specialist support for a range of different mental health conditions in order to ensure that our students absolutely can overcome those barriers, can have the specialist support that they need and still achieve their ambitions and their goals as expected at the start of the programme. So yes, Anastasia, to answer your question, we've got those facilities, but we've just further invested this year in some specialist mental health practitioners that will enable that support to be specific and targeted to whatever student needs are.
Thank you so much. That's great. Thank you. We have, I've just answered one of the questions. Somebody had asked sort of how do I apply? So I've just popped that in the chat box there just to go onto our website. And if you visit tmc.ac.uk/adults, and it gives you a full range of variety of courses and how to apply there. Thank you to everybody. I think most of the questions have been answered. Poppy, is that right, in the Q&A box there?
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple. One is, I'm 56. I don't know if that's a record. I'm not sure if Michael can comment on that. Do you know what the oldest
It's absolutely not. We had, Lisa, we had somebody last year who were they in the 90s?
97.
Oh, wow. Really?
56 is nothing.
So they're a spring chicken.
Very young, very young.
Yeah, 97. And they passed the, was it GCSE maths, I think? Was
That's
it?
lifelong ambition to achieve GCSE maths, and they achieved it. And we appreciate, and you know, many of our staff actually were adult returners to education and have actually come through that route themselves. So we do understand that sometimes, you know, when you get to the age of 56 or 50, I've just turned 50, that coming back into college and retraining, whether it's going into a new career or whether it's just because it's something you've always wanted to do and you've now got the time, we understand that can be perhaps a little bit daunting because you've not been in a college before. Or actually, this is an exciting opportunity for you, and it's really important that you get out of it what you need at the end. And we try to tailor our programs, our adult programs, to those needs, understanding that it is slightly different when you're an adult, and it's either a big opportunity for you that you've never had before, or a big commitment. You know, it's a different commitment and it's a new challenge for you. So we appreciate that, and we understand that you might think, oh, am I a bit too old for that? You're certainly not, and you certainly won't be our oldest student, that's for certain. That record's already been achieved.
We should try and beat it then.
Yeah.
We need to try and beat that one, yeah.
We do have the panels on tomorrow as well, which have got other adult learners. So, you know, you can hear sort of first-hand experience from those learners, which is just great. And you can ask them any questions that you need to ask, and they're all studying sort of a variety of different courses. So yeah, you can ask any questions that you need to.
Absolutely, and just so everybody knows, I'm actually deciding to go on one of our adult courses next year, and I'm the principal of the college. I've had a career in education for many years, but I've got a retirement plan eventually that is to become a fashion designer, which is what I always wanted to be. So I'm going to go on our pattern cutting course next year. But it's never too late for anybody. I've had a long career in one thing. I'm going to do something else when I retire. So it's never too late, and you're certainly never too old.
Thanks for sharing that, Lisa. Is there any more questions we've got, Poppy?
Yeah, we've got one more here. Joy wants to know when the admission pack would be sent out. Is that something that you're able to answer?
I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. We can certainly find that out, and yeah, we can get back to
directly.
Nothing more from my end.
I'm just going to become the next Coco Chanel, but it might take me till I'm 97 to get there.
I'm just wondering which brave member of staff is going to tell Lisa that she's got a bad mark for one of her assignments or something.
Where will you be studying that, Lisa?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm going to study that at Sheena Simon campus. That's my plan.
Brilliant. One of our other colleagues is she's studying interior design, so she's also gone back into education. So
yeah, absolutely, and I think it's important because we're around it all the time, and we see so many returners come back in and change career and or start from the very beginning. We're kind of dead comfortable with it, aren't we? We're all kind of picking want to do next and thinking about a course that might get us there, but I understand that it can be daunting if you're not used to that environment and you don't understand how much we can tailor our support to you, and how normal it is to come back and have a second career, or start from the very beginning, but it's every day to us. We understand that that's what most of our adults do. So yeah, have the confidence that we can help you get there, and you certainly won't be alone, that's for certain.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. Poppy, have we got any more questions? I've just seen another one pop up. I don't know if that's a question that we can.
Oh no, that was again for the pack. Okay. So I've just let them know.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you to Michael and to Lisa for joining us this evening. Thank you to everybody who's asked loads and loads of questions this evening as well, which is brilliant. We do have, this is the start of our sort of adult learner week, so we do have lots more panels taking place this week. So I know we've touched on, talking to other adult learners. We've also got a careers and welfare, a funding panel as well, and also what's on offer at the Manchester College. So that's our next event at 6 o'clock this evening. So Poppy's just popped in the chat box the link there. So that talks about a lot more about our courses and actually goes into sort of specifics. There's also Q&A sessions with all of our tutors. So again, if you go onto the website, you can choose exactly, and these are drop-in Q&A sessions as well, so you can just ask the tutors anything that you need to ask there. Again, thank you again everybody for joining us, and we hope you have a lovely evening. Thank you.
Thanks everybody.
Good luck with your applications and good luck with your studies.
And see you next year.